What's up, guys? Thanks for joining me again today. Today, I'm going to be doing a mock draft for you. We're a quarter of the way through the NFL season. We're 4 out of 16 games in, so I thought today would be a good day to do one while everything is still up to date before the games start tomorrow night. I always forget to mention this, but if you guys want, you can follow me on Twitter, Mr. Milholland, same name as I got here on YouTube. You can follow me there. If I'm watching a ball game, I'll give you updates on that ball game. I'm a Titans fan, so you'll probably see a lot of Titans stuff on there, but I talk about a little bit of everybody too. So let's get into this mock draft, and the draft order is based off the latest ESPN power rankings. So some of this stuff ain't going to make a lot of sense. It's going to look totally different probably next week, and as we get further on into the season. After week 8, I will be giving you guys another mock draft, and then again in week 12. And then after the Super Bowl, you're going to be bombarded with mock drafts. So just get ready for that. So this draft order is a little messed up. The picks is a little messed up as well because I'm not doing trades in this one. So let's just jump right into it. The 32nd team on the list for the ESPN Power Rankings is who I have number 1 here, and that is the Cleveland Browns at number 1 overall, taking Saquon Barkley, the running back out of Penn State. I like this pick, not at number 1 overall, obviously. In such a strong quarterback class, it's definitely going to be a quarterback going number 1 overall. If the Cleveland Browns do land with the first overall pick, they will flip it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I have them taking Saquon Barkley, killer athlete. The guy can do anything you want on the football field. He's fast, he's explosive, he's strong, he's powerful, smart football player. Very, very, very good running back. A lot of people even believe that he's better than Ezekiel Elliott when Ezekiel Elliott was coming out. So Saquon Barkley going to the running backs number 1 overall in this draft. At number 2 overall, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking another quarterback, Darius Guice, out of LSU. Another great running back. A lot of people even believe that he's better than Leonard Fournette, who went to the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 4 overall in this past draft. Really good in between the runners tackle. Really good in between the tackle runner. Very solid running back here. The Colts really need someone to help Andrew Luck once he comes back. And with Frank Gore aging, Frank Gore is still playing at a very high level for his age, but they need to get younger at that running back position. Marlon Mack has showed some pretty good promise, so we'll see how he progresses as the season goes on. But as of right now, I have them taking Darius Guice out of LSU. The New York Giants are at number 3 in this mock draft. I have them taking Mitch McGlinchey, the tackle out of Notre Dame. Very solid tackle. He would have been a first-round pick last year. And the reason the Giants are 0-4 right now is because that offensive line, it can't protect Eli Manning. It can't open up run holes for the run game. It's just the offensive line there is in real trouble. They need to get some talent there, and they need it now. Really, they should have had it. At number 4 overall, we have the San Francisco 49ers, and they're taking the first quarterback in this draft, Josh Rosen out of UCLA. Now, most people believe that Sam Darnold is the best quarterback in this draft, but Josh Rosen seems to be a better scheme fit to me for Kyle Shanahan's system. Very accurate passer, doesn't turn the ball over. He's got a cannon of an arm, but he's mostly known for his efficiency. So that's why Josh Rosen, I have him going to the 49ers. I feel like it is a better scheme fit there. At number 5, we have the Chicago Bears and have Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver out of Alabama, going to the Bears. I just feel like this is also a good fit. Mitch Trubisky, young quarterback, he is going to be getting the start this week for the Bears. He's going to need a number 1 wide receiver. Cameron Meredith is a good wide receiver, but Calvin Ridley is just better talent-wise. Very solid route runner, runs a lot of different routes, very athletic. So for that reason, I have Calvin Ridley going to the Bears to give Mitchell Trubisky a weapon there. At number 6, we have the Dolphins, and I have them taking Darwin James, the safety out of Florida State University. Their secondary needs a lot of help. Darwin James can bring that help. Physical cornerback, great in coverage. He has the flexibility to play cornerback as well, but he is a better, more natural safety. So for that reason, I give him to the Miami Dolphins for versatility and need. So he lands with the Dolphins. At number 7, we have the New York Jets, and this is where another quarterback comes off the board, and Sam Darnold. Very, very big quarterback, big arm. To me, he looks more like Andrew Luck than anybody. So he's an Andrew Luck type of quarterback. At number 8, we have the LA Chargers, and I still want to call them San Diego for some reason. But we have the LA Chargers. I have them taking Quentin Nelson, a guard out of Notre Dame. Again, this team needs help on the offensive line. That's a big reason they're 0-4 as well. Their defensive front seven is very stout. Their defensive secondary is very good whenever it can stay healthy. They do have problems staying healthy in that defensive secondary. Philip Rivers is still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Melvin Gordon emerged last season as a real threat in the running game. Mike Williams should be back next season and healthy and ready to go. And so should Keenan Allen as long as he can stay healthy. So they need help up front more than anything. So for that reason, I give them Quentin Nelson out of Notre Dame. At number 9, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and another quarterback comes off the board here in Lamar Jackson. And who hasn't seen Lamar Jackson? Who hasn't heard of Lamar Jackson unless you're living under a rock? A lot of people believe that he is going to convert to a wide receiver for the NFL. No, this guy's a quarterback. Of course, there's a few things he needs to work on, but his athleticism does cover a lot of the mistakes he makes. Lamar Jackson, really the biggest thing with him is he rolls out of the pocket and tries to scramble when he doesn't have to. There is some times when he's safe in the pocket and he does try to run. In the NFL, he's liable to get hurt doing that, but he has really good arm talent. He does keep his eyes downfield when he is scrambling, and that's something big that a lot of young quarterbacks struggle with. But Lamar Jackson, he can develop into a really good quarterback, and Blake Bortles just isn't cutting it there in Jacksonville any longer. Number 10, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, and they need help in their edge rusher position. They need to get younger there. So I have them taking Bradley Chubb, edge rusher out of North Carolina State. This guy has really been rising and flying. You could say flying up draft boards here lately. I keep trying to say Nick Chubb, running back, but Bradley Chubb. I think I seen a stat one time where he had 20 sacks in 31 games, which is really awesome. That's a really good stat. Got a high motor. He uses his hands very well. So let's continue watching him. He could move even further up draft boards as the season rolls on. At number 11, we have the Baltimore Ravens. I have them taking Mitch, I hope I said his last name correctly, Hyatt, offensive lineman out of Clemson. The guy's a little undersized to play left tackle, and he doesn't have the footwork. But what he does have, he has solid technique. He has good hands. He's just a really solid blocker. And thanks to the Baltimore Ravens already addressing the left tackle need back in the 2016 NFL draft, taking Ronnie Stanley. I don't believe that they need a left tackle, but they do need some more help up there on the offensive line, especially after losing Ricky Wagner. So for that reason, I have the Baltimore Ravens taking Mitch Hyatt, however you say that. Number 12 overall, the Arizona Cardinals, and another quarterback coming off the board in round 1, and that's Mason Rudolph. This guy, as I said earlier about Sam Darnold, he reminds me of Andrew Luck. This guy reminds me of Big Ben Roethlisberger, spitting image of a young Big Ben, same body type. Both of them have that kind of sneaky athleticism to be able to get out of the pocket. So I really like Mason Rudolph, and he's really rose up draft boards this season. Last season, I would have put a third-round grade on him. Now I have him going in the first. So for that reason, the Cardinals get him. Carson Palmer is getting older, so they need a replacement. At number 13, we have the Saints. I have them taking Roquan Smith. I hope I'm saying that correctly as well. Linebacker out of Georgia. Georgia is surprising a lot of people this season. They're 5-0, number 4 in the overall college rankings. And this guy is a leader of their defense. He flies around inside and out, making plays. And that's something that the Saints really need. Their defense is just in terrible, terrible shape. So that really, it's a good value pick, but it also fits a need there for the Saints. At number 14 overall, the Tennessee Titans, I have them taking Kendall Joseph, linebacker out of Clemson. And this guy's a playmaker. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is a playmaker. And that's what the Tennessee Titans need on defense is a playmaker. They really could use another secondary player, but they've invested so much in their secondary over the last few seasons. I expect them to kind of wait around and see how this secondary is going to develop and turn out before they start investing even more in it. Kendall Joseph just flies all over the field making plays very fast, makes quick decisions, makes good decisions, very fast, good against the run, good in coverage, and that could be a real chess piece for Dick LeBeau in that Tennessee Titans defense. At number 15, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Minkah Fitzpatrick, the safety slash cornerback out of Alabama. And this is a guy you could really build your secondary around. Very talented, very physically gifted, versatile to play both safety and cornerback. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have also invested a lot in their secondary, but this is a kind of a best player available kind of pick for these guys, but it also fits somewhat of a need. So for that reason, Minkah Fitzpatrick goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At number 16 overall, the Minnesota Vikings. And y'all help me when I'm trying to pronounce this name because this one's going to be a doozy. Chawuma Okalo Floor. That's the best I've got. This name is spelled Chukwuma. That is the first name. The last name is Okoraflor. But anyways, he is a tackle out of Western Michigan. He is a top-rated FBS player, I believe it was, in the nation. Very good build, very athletic for an offensive lineman. And while the Vikings don't really have a whole lot of needs across the board, he does offer very solid depth for that offensive line. We've seen last season, not so much this season, but last season when offensive linemen started winning down for the Vikings, bad things started to happen. And number 17, the LA Rams are going to pick Dorian O'Daniel, edge rusher out of Clemson. This is really just a good value pick for the Rams here as well. They have a good defense. Add this guy in the system with Robert Quinn and Aaron Donald. It just makes it that much better, that much more dangerous. They could go offensive line here, but just for the purposes of this mock draft, I had them taking Dorian O'Daniel, edge rusher out of Clemson. The Buffalo Bills actually have 2 first-round picks in this draft. At number 18 overall, their first-round pick, I have them taking Deon Cain, wide receiver out of Clemson. Clemson sure does have a lot of first-round picks in this mock draft, but I have them taking Deon Cain, wide receiver. And Clemson has been known for putting out some good wide receivers. Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams. Once he comes back from injury, we'll see what he can do. But Deon Cain, very speedy receiver, very fast. He runs good routes. He can be a playmaker in that Bills receiving core, and that's what they need. They need another playmaker there with LaShawn McCoy to make some plays for that team. Right now, they are 3-1. They are winning. But give Tyrod Taylor, if he's back next year, a playmaker and see what happens. Number 19 overall, we have the Washington Redskins taking Armani Watts, safety out of Texas A&M. This guy's a little undersized, but he's a playmaker. He has a nose for the football. You already have Josh Norman in that secondary. Sua Cravens kind of went AWOL. So this was kind of what this pick was about, replacing him. So Armani Watts, ball hawk and safety, goes to the Washington Redskins in round 1. At number 20 overall, we have the Carolina Panthers taking Martinez Rankin, offensive line from Mississippi State. The Carolina Panthers have a really good defense. They have a good quarterback. They have good running backs. Their receivers they could improve upon, but they really need help protecting Cam Newton. Martinez Rankin, he's been a multiple-year starter there at Mississippi State. He's battle-tested. He's held up well there in the SEC division over the last 3 years. So that's why I have the Carolina Panthers taking him, bringing in some solid. if anything else, he's solid depth for the team, but he should be able to carve out a starting role on that Panthers offensive line. At number 21, we have the Dallas Cowboys taking James Washington, wide receiver out of Oklahoma State. This guy is kind of really similar to T.Y. Hilton. He's very fast, very shifty, runs solid routes, and the Cowboys really need a number one receiver. This guy can stretch the field. He can catch an underneath pass and take it all the way to the house. Dez Bryant just really isn't what he used to be anymore. So I have the Cowboys taking James Washington, and hopefully he could emerge as a number one receiver for Dak Prescott. At number 22 overall, we have the Oakland Raiders taking Malik Jefferson, inside linebacker out of Texas. Originally, this guy was considered to be a top 10 pick, but his play has kind of fell off this season. But he's still a very good linebacker. He's good in coverage. He's good against the run. He reads plays very well, fills his gaps pretty well. Every once in a while, you will see him get burned, so he needs to work on his consistency, his issues. But he does still have a chance to rise back up draft boards. Just a really young, solid talent to add to that Oakland Raider, or soon-to-be Las Vegas Raider linebacker corps, already having Khalil Mack and Bruce Irving on the outside. Adding him to the inside would definitely give them a boost. At number 23 overall, this is the Cleveland Browns pick from the Houston Texans. I have them taking DeForest McFadden, the cornerback out of Florida State University. To a lot of people, he's the best cornerback in this draft, and I do like him. I'm kind of split between him and another guy. I'm not going to give too much away about that in this video. I will talk about that more in the future. Right now, I'm not even going to tell you who the guy is, but he is somebody out of LSU. But DeForest McFadden, he's good in coverage. He can play zone or man-to-man. Really, he can do anything you need him to do. I wished he did play a little more physical, because with his size, he could if he wanted to. But maybe that's just a scheme thing. Maybe I don't know what the deal is, why he doesn't play more physical. But I'm not going to hold that against him too much. But so far, DeForest McFadden, I have him going 23 overall to the Cleveland Browns to really help that secondary there. At number 24 overall, we have the Detroit Lions. I have them taking Maurice Hurst, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Haloti Ngata is getting older. They're going to have to replace him at some point. This guy can come in and replace him. He may need a little bit of development time, but the talent is there for him. So hopefully he can come in and solve that problem before it becomes a problem for the Detroit Lions. At 25 overall, we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking Trey Adams, tackle out of Washington. This guy is really good with his hands, very athletic. There is still time for him to develop. He will need to develop, but the Eagles will be smart to start going ahead and investing more picks in these offensive linemen for Carson Wentz. Their offensive line is starting to grow older, so they're going to need some help there eventually. And this guy is kind of the perfect candidate to come in and step in for that position of developmental player. At number 26 overall, we have the New England Patriots taking Adrian Key, edge rusher out of LSU. And if you watch the Patriots this season, you know the deal. They're having a hard time stopping anybody on defense. They can't get to the quarterback in pass rushes. They can't really fill their gaps and stop the run. So for that reason, I have them taking Adrian Key. Adrian Key is a very talented player, really, really talented player. At one time, he was projected to go in the top 10. All the physical traits are there to be a dominant pass rusher in the NFL, but he's starting to struggle this season, so that's why he has slipped in this draft. At number 27 overall, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking Connor Williams, tackle out of Texas. And again, with the Seahawks, their offensive line just cannot protect Russell Wilson. They can't open up holes in the run game. They really need help there, and Connor Williams can bring them some help. At 28 overall, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Billy Price, the guard/center out of Ohio State. Bring some depth to that offensive line. Bring some youth and some versatility there. So I really like that pick. At number 29 overall, we have the Denver Broncos taking Vita Vea, nose tackle out of Washington. And looking at this guy, he just reminds me of Vince Wilfork. He's 6'4", I believe, and I think he was pretty close to 340 pounds. I think he was like 330, 335, something like that. I know it wasn't quite 340, but it's pretty close. This guy just really reminds me of Vince Wilfork. You put this guy in the middle of your defense, he's going to eat double teams all day long so your linebackers can run free. He's going to be very hard and very challenging to move with his size. At number 30 overall, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking Christian Kirk, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. This guy, another speedy receiver. The Falcons don't have a whole lot of needs across the board, but they could improve upon a number 2 receiver playing across from Julio Jones to really open Matt Ryan and Julio Jones' games up. Christian Kirk runs really good routes, very fast, has sticky hands. There's games to where even opposing teams will triple team this guy, and he can still get open and still make the catches. He can also return kicks and punts and get you in good field position. So for that reason, I have him going at number 30 today, Atlanta Falcons. At number 31, the Green Bay Packers. I had them taking Harold Landry, edge rusher out of Boston College. I scouted this guy last year, and I really, really liked him last year. He didn't declare for the draft. He decided to go back to college. This guy has a motor that goes for days. There's just no quit in him. He's coming at you full speed every second, every play, and he'll do that for the entire game. I think he had 20.5 sacks, not last year, but the year before. I'm not sure what he had last year, but the guy just has a motor. He has good technique. He uses his hands very well, but the motor this guy has is just unreal how hard he plays on every play. At number 32, we have the Buffalo Bills with their second first-round pick. This one's coming from the Kansas City Chiefs. Their first pick, I had them taking Deon Cain, wide receiver out of Clemson. And this pick here, I'll have them taking the other cornerback. I said I wasn't going to let it out to you guys, but I guess I will. And Kevin Tulliver in LSU. That's not on my notes here. I actually did these notes, and I realized I messed up and made a mistake. I originally had them taking Deon Cain at 18 and then Cortland Sutton at 32. I didn't realize that until after I got on here, but that's okay. I'll improvise. I have them taking Kevin Tulliver at 32 overall. Very physical cornerback, really good size. He does struggle covering the speedy receivers, but I think that is more of a something to do with his scheme, his system that he plays in. So I will let that slide. But I really like Kevin Tulliver. Very physical cornerback. Plays the football very well when it's in the air. Has great size. And he will feel a need for the Buffalo Bills. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of long. Subscribe if you want to see more of my mock drafts and more other videos that I'm going to put out. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Milholland. Same name here on YouTube if you want to see more of my thoughts, just little quick thoughts and tidbits there, and kind of keep up with whatever game it is I'm watching. I know my voice sounds kind of raspy. I'm actually trying to lose it right now, so I'm going to get off here and